So unit 4, we will see compounding of offences and plea bargaining. Okay.
Compounding of offences.
Last point, compounding of offences, plea bargaining. We have the second point remaining and point number 5 remaining. That also we will cover. Okay, so today we will see compounding of offences and plea bargaining. Hey, before we continue, I wanted to inform you about my live mentorship program for LLB students or law aspirants. Law subjects and law topics need detailed clarity. We get that with the help of cases, examples, and detailed explanation. It's definitely not possible to include everything in these short videos. If you find my videos easy to understand and you are looking for some professional help in preparing for your examination, you can join my live mentorship program. Here you will be getting exam tips, answer writing skills, detailed notes that you can refer for your examination, cases, examples, and in a very easy way topics will be explained. I have live classes going on for a lot of subjects as of now. To know more about it, you can drop me a message on this WhatsApp number. I'm also helping a lot of students in writing their assignments. If you need any such help or for any queries, any suggestions, you can drop me a message on this WhatsApp number. And now let's continue with our video. Another thing which we have in the same topic is compounding of offences. Okay, so compounding of offences means to establish a compromise between two parties. Otherwise, both the parties are like completely against each other. They would file an FIR, go to the police station, file a case, hire a lawyer and just fight against each of the parties, right? But rather than fighting and fighting and fighting, there is another way, which is nothing but compounding of offences or compromise between the parties. There are some cases wherein as such, it's not like a very big deal. Okay, compounding would be allowed in such cases. That rather than wasting time of the court, rather than wasting your own time, your own energy, your own money, why don't you compound the offense? Why don't you compromise with the parties? Okay, like that, there are certain crimes wherein it is compoundable offense. Compounding is allowed, but there are a lot many crimes wherein compounding is not allowed. Okay, so what happens here? That based on the compromise, charges will be dropped against the accused. Court would say many times when you see a court's decision, right? You would see parties, compromised. Cases disposed of because parties compromised. Outside court settlement, in court settlement.
In compounding, whether fine is involved, some amount is involved, amount is involved.
What? Sorry.
In compounding, whether money is involved.
Yeah, money also might be involved. We would see that. Okay, sometimes like check bounce and all, it's all about money. Right, so there again, court would say that, okay, this person is ready to pay you the money. Why don't you simply take it and, end the case? Like that also it might happen. So there are two categories of offenses. We have compoundable and non-compoundable offenses. Compoundable offenses are those that can be compromised. That is, complainant can agree to take back the charges which were there against the accused, whereas non-compoundable is something which is more serious. Their compromise is not allowed. Court would say if this person has committed such a serious offense, entire trial would go on. After that, we will decide whether he is guilty or not. As such, in between compromise will not be allowed because it is a very serious offense. Compoundable offenses are those offenses where the complainant, that is the person who is the victim who has filed the case, enters into a compromise and agrees to have the charges dropped against the accused. Section 320 of the code deals with compounding of offenses. These are less serious in nature and there are two different types as mentioned regarding compounding. One is compounding without permission of the court. You can do it yourself, like take for example defamation, criminal trespass, causing hurt, adultery, etc. Right? In such cases, you can compromise. If it's a case of adultery, parties can decide, right? They are married people, they can take a decision, they can compromise. As such, court's permission is not needed. Defamation, someone's reputation is affected. Criminal trespass, these are like very small kind of matters Like these are not as such affecting the society or something. It's just between the parties. So it's fine. They can decide, they can compromise. Okay, court permission is required before compounding. For example, in case of theft, okay, in case of theft, it might happen that person had taken some goods from another person, and this person says, okay, fine, I'm ready to give you all your goods back. Please, let's, like compromise. Why to waste time and energy and effort in the court? Rather, we would compromise. I will give all your goods back and you just drop the case, right? So that is nothing but with permission of the court. Voluntarily causing grievous hurt, this is a little bit serious as compared to simple hurt, right? Assault on women with intention to outrage her modesty, dishonest misappropriation of property amongst others, criminal breach of trust. Okay, all these situations, court's permission will be required. With court's permission, they can compromise between themselves. Okay.
Yes.
So there was this case wherein Supreme Court observed, Supreme Court has discretion to reject plea to compound an offense having social impact, even if the offense is compoundable under section 320. If court feels that this is something where we should not allow compounding, court can refuse that also. Discretion can be exercised by court having regard to nature of offense. What kind of offense it is? How serious is it? Is it affecting the society or not? Considering those things, court may decide to accept or to refuse compounding of offenses. Okay, when we talk about compounding without permission of court, offenses punishable under this section of IPC is specified in 2 different columns. Okay, so this one specifies where compounding without permission of court, we can do it ourselves only. Take for example, uttering words etc. with deliberate intention to affect another person's religious feelings. Okay, in such cases, the person whose religious feelings are intended to be wounded, that person can compromise. That person can say that, okay, fine. If you are, like that person can say that, okay, sorry, I did not mean it, this, that. And if this person agrees, he can say that, okay, fine. We have compromised, it's done. Causing hurt, to whom hurt was caused, voluntarily restraining, confining of any person. Whoever is restrained or confined, the person can provide a justification. Because of this, it happened, right? There can be a compromise. Assault or use of criminal force. There also, if the person agrees, they can compromise. Mischief, as in causing loss to some property or goods, etc. Right? There also they can compromise. Maybe take, for example, in a strike. Okay, strike was going on in some industry or a factory. There, the workers started throwing stones in the factory and all its glasses and everything broke. In such a case also, they can compromise that because I was very disappointed with the kind of services you are providing, so I ended up throwing stones. And the person may also understand that yes, situation was actually bad. They can compromise even though it is a case of mischief. Criminal trespass, the person in possession of property which was trespassed, that person can say that, okay, fine, next time you should be careful, like that they can compromise. House trespass, all these are some situations wherein mostly it's the party who is affected. Okay, as such, it's not that risky for the society. So in such cases, compromise may be allowed. But there are certain other cases wherein court's permission will be required. Like voluntarily causing grievous hurt, on sudden and grave provocation. Okay, rashly and negligently doing something to endanger human life, wrongfully confining a person for 3 or more days, it becomes a more serious one. Wrongfully confining for 10 or more days. Okay, in such cases, we need permission of the court, and with permission of the court, compromise or compounding would be allowed. Wherein the Constitution bench had observed the compounding power should be exercised by the court considering social impact. Okay, as what is the impact of it? How serious is it? Will compounding affect the society in a bad way or not? Those things will be seen, and after that only decision will be taken. Okay, what is the ground of compounding? That may differ. Like take for example, if a person was like wrongfully confined, if a person was confined in a house for 3 or more days, during that time maybe he was having a performance where he had already signed for some 50,000 rupees. In that case, person can say, because you confined me, I have suffered this much of loss, you pay me that. Like that also they can agree, right? It may be simple kind of a compromise also, wherein one person says, by mistake I entered your property, please forgive me. He can forgive also. Okay, how they compromise, those grounds might differ. Parties should be happy and agreeing to the grounds how it happened. Okay, is this part clear?
Yes, madam.
So there was one recent case of 2021, I guess, wherein, right, one person's check got dishonored. Okay, check bounce case was filed. Once the case was filed, right, the other person said that, okay, fine, by mistake it happened. Now I am ready to pay you the amount, whatever amount was there, right, in the check. I'm ready to pay you the amount. So you take the amount and just end this case. Why to waste time of court and also ours? I will pay you the amount, you end this case. But this plaintiff, right, she was like, no, I will continue with the case itself. I will not compromise. In that case, right, court said that, why are you not compromising? If the person is ready to pay the amount, you can compromise. Why are you not compromising? Like that, court only forced that you should compromise in such a case, because it unnecessarily leads to pendency of a case, right? Because if you file a case, right, court may even order you to pay twice the amount of 2 times the amount of check. So might be that was a reason that there is a possibility that she would get 2 times the amount of check. So she said that, no, I will not compromise, I would go forward with the case. But court said that it's not that kind of a serious matter. If the other person is willing to compromise, you can also go forward and compromise. Okay, so like that, in some cases compromise makes sense, because it just like otherwise a lot of time of court as well as people also would be wasted. So if compromise is allowed, it would help parties. Compounding shall have the effect of acquittal of the accused with whom the offense has been compounded. In case a person compounds the offenses, it would be almost similar to acquittal of the person. Once compounding is done, again, you cannot file a case saying that this person has done this wrong, because it's as if he has been acquitted by the court. Okay, so court will also end the case saying that compromise between the parties. Parties have compromised and we are putting an end to the case. It's almost like we have disposed the case.
Yes.
So section 9 prohibits compounding. It prescribes that no offense shall be compounded except according to provision. So according to whatever provisions CRPC provides, based on that only compounding would be allowed. We cannot do it in our own ways. Okay, like if in case of a murder, rape, etc., we cannot say that, okay, we will compound. That would not be allowed by court, because there are certain crimes wherein court wants to conduct the entire inquiry, and after that court wants to take a decision whether the person is acquitted, whether the person is guilty, not guilty. Court will take a decision. Parties are not given that liberty. Okay, so compounding of offenses and plea bargaining, these are some ways which are used in order to reduce number of cases pending before the court, okay, and quickly resolve the problem between the parties. So these are some ways that we have in law: compounding of offenses and plea bargaining. Is this part clear?
Yes, madam.